Good morning, everyone. Kel here. Hi. I'm getting ready to do our second collage for the summer, and our word of the day is love. So I was just going to show you a layered project that I did a few years ago with other materials, but I'm keeping it simple today. So I've just got my black Sharpie here, and basically just repeating the word love over and over again on the page as my first layer. You could do this using, you could write love is and then just respond to it and do your actual journaling on the page and then cover that up. You could write the scripture for today over and over, or bigger. So this is the first layer, and the thing I love about layers is that even though we cover them up, they're still there. They're still underneath the other layers, and we've experienced them. And I feel like that's the same thing with love and prayer and life. We experience these things, but we don't always see them, but their effects are still below the surface and working themselves out in our life. And then we add another layer of love or prayer or experience to our life. Today I'm limiting myself on my paper ephemera or fodder, or just means just a bunch of paper stuff, to things that I found in my junk mail. If you get these security envelopes, you'll be surprised how many different patterns and colors they come in, so I kind of collect them now. I like this one. It's simple black and white with little design all over. And for my second layer, I'm going to use this to just paste some random pieces over the page. You can do as many as you want. I'm just going to do a few for the demo, but it's kind of fun to do at least 7 to 10. So I'm just using my handy dandy glue stick here. Now my next step as I'm contemplating love is to look through some images that I have here from my junk mail. Here's one from Michael's, and I like the word make, so I'm going to cut that out. I also just noticed that unplug and connect are there, so I'm thinking that make time for love, make time for God, unplug and connect. I'll put that there for a second. Then this is a catalog, and it's got lots of things that I love in it, and I actually like this picture of this tent because to me it just reminds me of that refuge of God, and that I want to spend time with Him, and that I love being in the outdoors and in God's creation. And today I'm cutting around things. Sometimes I just rip around them. And I'm just going to stick with that. Here's another thing from the mail. Just got a map on the back and a football player on the front. I don't know if I'm going to use any of this today, but the word care is there, and that makes me think of God's love, so I'm going to cut that off. And I'll save the rest of this because that football player would be cool for some kind of collage. And also, I just like to put maps in collages because I like traveling, and they just remind me of the journey. Here's another one, another little thing from Michael's. It has hearts on it. That's what drew me to it. Lots of hearts in there. Celebration. That's a cool word. Frame what you love most. That might be an interesting phrase to use in today's collage. And I did. I just picked these out of the out of my recycle bin very randomly this morning. So I'm going to set the rest aside. I don't know what else I'm going to use in it. You get these newspaper type ads in the mail. They have lots of images and they're easy to glue down. The first thing that caught my eye back here was this watermelon. So I'm going to cut that out. And then I really also liked this word, fresh, simple, because I just want to have a fresh and simple experience of God's love. Sometimes I try to make life too complicated. And then here's another thing back here on the page. Fun starts here. God delights in us, and so I think fun is part of my love relationship with God. Here's another fun. See, now I'm starting to see things all over the place. There's all these fun summary things in this one. So I could go on and on. I like the campfire and the chairs because just sitting with God and spending time with Him. I got this little kiddie pool because that just reminds me of the fun aspect and delighting in God and enjoying His presence. So now I'm going to glue some of these things down without much thought, just kind of randomly putting them up there to show aspects of my love relationship with God. Sometimes I use a slick thing like this to put my piece of paper on and then glue so that the glue on the edges doesn't stick to the other papers. With this cardstock paper, you might need to be a little more generous with the glue because it's thicker and it doesn't stick down as easily as the thinner paper. So I'm going to let this one hang off because I can still get the idea of the tent without having the whole tent there. Okay, so I'm going to say right here, make time to unplug and connect. And I'm going to frame it with some lines. And I thought of that idea because of that other thing up there that said, frame what you love. Simple outlining sometimes can make your collage more interesting and more cohesive. I'm going to trim that off there. And today you can see I just used one page. I didn't use both pages. I just used a one-page spread. So I'm really liking that. And then now I'm just going to take my paintbrush and some water and some watercolor and just color in a little bit to add some pops of color. Let's see. I think I'll go with yellow. And because I used a permanent marker, the marker is not going to bleed. The main thing when, if you ever want to use a marker over top of paint, make sure that the paint is good and dry before you try to write with the marker again. Because otherwise the water just kind of dries up the marker ink. Just trying to get a little rainbow effect going here.